What really happened backstage after Taehyung dazzled the world on CELINE's show? Why can Jungkook only be silent with teary eyes? And why does HYB look unprepared for this big step? While all eyes were on the lights of Paris, Taehyung did something no one predicted, and his reaction shocked not only the BTS members, but the entire Korean entertainment industry. Taehyung's unexpected move after CELINE wowed fans? Jungkook is speechless. Is it true that Taehyung is going to take Jungkook off the path HYB has been planning all along? Why did this seemingly simple decision actually provoke an unexpected internal shakeup? And why would a great director from CELINE be part of this emotional story? That night, amid the glimmering lights and a rousing reception at CELINE's show, no one knew that something was changing. Not only in Taehyung's heart, but also in the direction of BTS's journey forward. What happened after the stage went out? Who knew that behind Taehyung's calm smile and charisma, there was a grand plan that would change everything? And is Jungkook ready to accept that surprising invitation, one that will not only take him on a different stage, but also shake the foundations he's built on for more than a decade? As Taehyung walked off the runway, cheers were still echoing in the halls of Paris. However, at that moment, he turned to the back of the stage and looked for someone. That figure is Jungkook. And in an instant, the expression on his face changed. There's a signal. There's a point. And surprisingly, there was a personal invitation from the CELINE director himself that Taehyung conveyed, not to the media, not to the staff, but directly to Jungkook. "I want you to come," Taehyung said quietly. His voice was heard among the boisterous whispers of a backstage that had not yet been completely silent. Jungkook, who was sitting on the side of the room with a water bottle in hand, raised his face. His eyes widened. He didn't answer. He just stared at Taehyung for a long time, as if looking for a hint that this was just a joke. But Taehyung didn't laugh. And her smile is not what it used to be. What exactly is the invitation? What project was so important that Taehyung chose to present it to Jungkook himself, without going through management, without drafting a proposal, without even telling HYB first? Even more surprising, this move not only shocked the public, but also made HYB react quickly. Rumors circulated that when the information reached the ears of BTS's main manager, there was great tension. Some of the staff were said to have felt betrayed for not knowing the plan in the first place. But Taehyung stood his ground. "I've spoken to them directly," he said. By them, he means not just Jungkook, but all BTS members, and the most emotional is the reaction of Jungkook. Did Jungkook accept the invitation? Or is he silent because he knows that this step will change everything? A decision that not only involves a project with CELINE, but also touches on the deepest dynamics in their friendly relationship. When the internal video, which was not officially released, circulated among the staff, there was a moment when Jungkook looked at Taehyung after hearing the whole explanation. His eyes were red. She didn't cry, but it was clear how heavy the emotional burden was that night. He took Taehyung's hand and said, "Are you sure this will be good for us?" It sounded like a worried question, as well as an acknowledgement that Jungkook didn't want to disappoint anyone, especially Taehyung. But what made netizens shudder the most was when an informal conference was held the next day, and Taehyung stood in front of HYB's staff, in front of all the BTS members, and declared his intentions publicly. This project is not only about fashion, it's about freedom, about showing a side of us that the world has never seen. Why is Taehyung so sure? And why does HYB look so surprised by the decision they should have anticipated since Taehyung started getting close to CELINE's creative director? Will this trigger an internal conflict? Or will it pave a new path for a more personal and authentic BTS? Taehyung and Jungkook will collaborate on an art project that blends music, fashion, and a visual documentary that will showcase their personal stories. And even more emotionally explosive was Taehyung's admission that he wrote most of the project's concept because of a dream that kept popping up, about the stage, the light, and someone who kept waiting on the right side of the screen. Every night the dream appears. And I always knew that guy was Jungkook. This made the BTS members speechless. Even the genie, who usually likes to joke, just lowered his head. RM seemed to be thinking hard, and Jimin, who is known to be the most emotional, walked out of the room early. What exactly does the dream mean? And how can this project bind the feelings of two members so strongly that it breaks the boundaries of corporate planning, even silencing all the confusion of the HYB staff? On the other hand, HYB is called to start drawing up an emergency plan. There are fears that this project will create a split in BTS's promotional structure going forward. Some internal parties felt Taehyung's decision was too impulsive. But the fans, especially the ARMY, reacted differently. Social media is booming with the hashtag #TrustTaehyung Many see this not as rebellion, but as a form of creative independence that has been suppressed by the system. And what did Jungkook say in the end? A short message he uploaded on Weverse made fans cry. "I never knew a move could make me feel so scared and alive at the same time. Thank you for taking me, Taehyung." A word that carries a million meanings. Does that mean he's coming? Is this the beginning of a new chapter of BTS that is more honest, more personal, and more emotional? For sure, that night in Paris was not just about CELINE, not just about fashion, but about a moment of friendship that became history. And HYB, for the first time, was not in the full control seat. And now, the world can only wait, with a pounding heart and eyes that won't blink. What exactly will these two stars do? Is this the most emotional project they've ever been on? Or is it just a step towards the end of something we love? But why should there be a script in a relationship that so far looks so natural and loving? Why did Taehyung and Jungkook's relationship, which used to be a symbol of warmth in BTS, suddenly become full of question marks and ice? Was it all just because of pressure from the public, or because there was something much bigger that they couldn't control themselves? In a recent interview with one of the Japanese television stations, a host of the show had touched on the interaction between members who are now much less common. When Taehyung's name was mentioned, Jungkook seemed to take a deep breath before finally answering with a stiff smile. "We're all focused on each other." That sentence sounds so flat. There is no warmth. No jokes or jokes as usual. Is it a reflection of the real condition? Not long after the interview went viral, fans discovered another surprising fact. Taehyung unfollowed one of the accounts of BTS staff who are known to be very close to him and Jungkook. No explanation. No drama. But for those who follow BTS from the beginning, know that such a small gesture holds great meaning. What caused even more uproar was the emergence of a video from one of the international fan-based channels that claimed to get secret clips from BTS's training sessions before the end of 2023. In the video, Jungkook appears to want to approach Taehyung for a talk, but is subtly prevented by one of the staff. Taehyung himself looked like he wanted to talk, but just lowered his head and left the rehearsal location. Is it an order from a certain party? Are their interactions deliberately guarded, so as not to arouse emotions? Or precisely so that it is not noticeable that there are wounds that have not yet healed? One theory is that HYB deliberately limited their interactions in order to avoid certain rumors. There were fears that too much closeness would spark wild speculation from the international media, which could harm reputation. However, if that were true, why would it go so far as to hide moments of honesty between them? A source claiming to be a former video editor for BTS, internal content said that some footage from 2022 to 2023 has been locked in HYB's internal archives and cannot be accessed by anyone without the highest managerial permission. One of them was a private documentary recording of their trip to Jeju Island, where it was said that Taehyung and Jungkook had recorded a moment of talking face-to-face for almost an hour. The video was briefly edited, but cancelled airing on YouTube. The reason? It's too emotional and doesn't fit the brand narrative. Brand narrative? Since when has the emotional connection between friends become a nuisance for the company's image? Some of the ARMY wrote a long thread on X, Twitter, revealing an analysis of Jungkook and Taehyung's changing interaction patterns from year to year. If in 2017 to 2019 they were almost inseparable in every moment captured on camera, then from 2022 to the present, the distance looks very noticeable. Even in moments where emotional closeness usually cannot be hidden,